your insecurities are safe within the circle. If you have the right circle. So even within your insecurities, within the circle, you can express that. And that's okay. And we can work through that. And we can get you back in position to where you can deliver value. Because that's what it's about. Of our friendship is that even when you did have to shift, you didn't shift and sit. You shifted and still continue to grow. And I think a lot of people miss that because they're in their feelings.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the whole situation about what the other person does is like I said with you were so easy to, when we got back together, you were able to say, okay, what is it that you need, sis, so that I can support you. And then you were willing to do it. And I think what we have to realize with friendship is it's a give and take. It's so much like a marriage. Y'all just, as God is preparing me to be a wife, I'm learning that the similarities are so there. And I was like, I know God is going to give me a husband that likes to communicate like Wayne. Because he's trying to prepare me. Because Wayne likes to communicate, as y'all said. He loves to talk. And I'm just like, I'm the one that's like, bro, just tell me. We don't, hey, hold on.
But I can't express, I can't do my voice inflection. It's like, I need to talk.
He does. And so it's just, you have to understand what that other person needs. But just like you were saying, like, there's gonna be a shift when I'm doing stuff.
That's it.
And you're gonna have to come in and support me and do this and do that. It's a give and take. But I think that's what a good friendship is. And if your friendship is really rooted in love, because a lot of times people are rooted in, I need, selfishness, or there's some underlying thing. But if your relationship is really rooted in love, then you know that there's gonna be opportunities where it's like, okay, I gotta pass the ball to you right now, and it's gotta be about you, and I might need to give you space, and I'm playing the linebacker, like I gotta just protect you, and that protection is just prayer.
That's it, the covering of it all.
You know what I mean? AD out there catching the ball. He doing And I get that. And I was like, and I think for us, when we were talking about you reconnecting, I wanted you to get some male influences in your life, because as a female, there's only so much I can do. And I knew that you needed some male influences in your life, and I also knew that you needed to have people around you that could put you in a position where I wasn't able to put you in that position. You know, whether that's financial, whether that's contacts or whatever. And so what I could do was just pray and support. And so that's where I'm playing my part, is pray and support.
While you're growing.
While I'm growing.
And I think that the growth piece is huge because of the infrastructure that I've surrounded myself with. Everyone doesn't have to win at the same time. We just need one person to pop.
That's it.
We just need one person to pop. And then once that one person pop, like we bring it, like, because every person is bringing value to the situation. So when one person makes it, now everyone can I've been talking a lot about this, can apply their working genius to the situation that will help support the whole machine and lift it. And it goes back to what we said earlier. Everybody eats, B. Everybody eats. But if you have that jealousy or that envy or all those emotions that are non-productive, you can't add or give value to the machine because you're blinded by your ego. And what you want, or and what you're getting from, or the insecurities. But understanding that your insecurities are safe within the circle. If you have the right circle. So even within your insecurities, within the circle, you can express that. And that's okay. And we can work through that. And we can get you back in position to where you can deliver value. Because that's what it's about. And I'm competitive when it comes to friendships. If I'm really down with you, if I really rock with you, I want to be the one giving 51%. I want to be able to give most of the value. I don't want to give all the value, but I want to be able to give most of the value in any way that I can. Like you were saying, whether that's in the facet of praying, like I'm going to pray the hardest for you. Like, you know what I mean? Whether that's you need to just...
You always got to do the most, yeah.
I do. I'm so extreme. I'm all in or all out.
Yes.
It's kind of my DNA. It's how I made up. But it has served me well and crippled me in other areas of my life too, which has created blind spots in my life that have taken a toll to a degree. But yeah, that is so key. And what we don't know is that friendship, there's a playbook.
It really, it's like being on a team. Everybody wins. Like when you're talking about that, it doesn't matter who played the hardest on that team. If you lose, we all lose.
That's right.
If we win, we all win. And that's kind of the model you have to be. And I think also it's just positioning people. Like nobody's more important. We all created this win, or we all contributed to this loss.
Yeah.
And I think when we think about it like that, and I know that we'll probably get into toxic friends, but it's just a thing of like, you have to be able to look at somebody as a friend and say, okay, what if this is going back to being strategic about your friendship. How can this person bring value into my life? And so I think that's kind of part of the transition too, is like saying, okay, how does this person bring value to my life? How can I, out of the servanthood, how do I bring value to this person's life?
That's right. So now we're talking about, hold that thought, but now we're talking about having, I'm huge on these infrastructure ideas, right? There should be certain questions that you run through your infrastructure to decide whether this relationship or friendship or business opportunity is going to be the right thing. And as you run it through that, because it's not all going to be good. There's going to be some cons, right? But as long as the pros are outweighing the cons and you run it through your infrastructure, then move forward with it. You might you might drop the ball on 1 and 2 and let a what I call a leech. You might let a leech in that just wants to take, right?
But everybody serves a purpose though, because everybody is a growth opportunity.
True.
I mean, I can look at all of my relationships, even the toxic one, they push me to something great.
That's good. Let's talk about toxic. So let think. Don't say any names.
I'm not doing names.
Okay. All right. Well, what was one toxic friendship or relationship that you were in that helped propel you to greater heights?
Ooh, there's so many.
Right.
You know what? I have to actually take ownership of toxic relationships, because I sent you a video a couple days ago about your worth and what you believe and what you feel like you are not worthy of. And for a lot of the issue with toxicity, having toxic friends, is because you don't believe you're worthy. Before Wayne came into my life, and like I said, I prayed for him, I was allowing anybody to come into my circle and people treat you the way that you allow them to treat you.
Facts.
And also people tend to treat you how you feel about yourself. And so if you feel like you're not worthy, if you feel like, my opinion doesn't count, I'm insignificant in this situation, people are going to treat you that way.
Yep.
So I take ownership of toxic friendships because I contributed to that. And this knowledge is coming from age. I'm gonna say how old I am.
Wisdom.
But yeah, wisdom and age, and just understanding that, we have to understand ourselves. And I think for me, so long, and this is the reason I gave up social media, was because our identity becomes whatever the cool thing is. Our identity becomes success. Our identity becomes this. If you're a mother, if you're a wife, your identity comes into all these different forms. And it's like, for me, it was so toxic to be on social media because I found myself trying to compare myself to everybody. And I was just like, well, this person achieved this, so I should achieve this, and this person should achieve this. And I think when you deal with those things in friendship, it either is a self-reflecting where you say, okay, I need to take some time to really get myself together, or you just project that out and you just like, well, you think you this, and right. And so I think it's been a combination of both. And I think with having a best friend who was of an opposite sex, it allowed me, like, me and Wayne don't ever have no competition.
Right.
Because he's my brother.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it's a female, our milestones are the same.
Right.
In a way. You know what I mean? So if she gets married and I'm not married, then I'm sitting there like, well, I guess
wow.
She has children and I don't have children. Oh, well, but it's not the same with, even though he got married and he had children, it was never like a situation where he made me feel like, okay, you need to get that together.
Right.
It was always love. It was always good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, for me, with the toxic friends, a lot of that had to do with just the way that I felt about myself. And constantly, just like you were saying, and Wayne has this issue too. And like I said, we are mirrors to one another. Is we are really hard on ourselves. Whew, extremely hard on ourselves. And so we give other people a lot of grace, but when it comes to us, we're always like, man, I gotta do better. I gotta be better. I gotta do this. And I think that was one of the things that always connected me and Wayne, was the fact that we was always go-getters and we was always like dreamers.
Yeah.
I remember when we used to drive on Peachtree Street and we used to look at, like off mansions or whatever, and we'd be like, man, we finna have that.
Yeah.
We finna have that.
We're gonna have that business. Look
yeah,
that's
we were
gonna
just always dreamers, and we were always able to really see each other. And I think the thing with toxic friendships is you guys don't have a common goal. You don't have a common, you don't have common values and morals and stuff like that. And so things that are really hurtful to you, they don't feel like that's hurtful to them, or they just don't care.
Right.
And I think that's what's been so wonderful about our relationship, is we have those same morals and values, and the things that are important to him, which are making sure I'm the best friend, making sure I do this 110%. I'm the same with him. Mm-hmm. So if I have to adjust, make sure I do the best adjustment.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be there. And that's the value of the friendship, right?
Yeah.
That is the value of the circle that is around you, because how you see you is different from how others see you. And if you're always operating out of a space of how you see you, right? Because you know all your skeletons. You know all the things that you didn't give 100% in. Although they might think that you gave 100%, you know inside you didn't give 100%. So you're judging yourself off of you. And if you don't have the right circle around you to help give you another perspective, another view of how you are impacting the world, or how you're engaging within this relationship, like, the only view that you're going to have is how you see you. And if you're a person like you and I that are so hard on ourselves, we will continue to walk through this life feeling like we're not enough the whole time. Because everything that I do, I feel like is not good enough. So that's why I have positioned a certain amount of people that will give me an honest view and perspective of how certain things are going. It's not always what I want to hear, which is great. Because not everything that I do should be great. It should be like, yo, you dropped the ball on that one.
But see, I think we need to do it in love. Anytime I tell you anything, I do it in love. And he does it too. So he definitely does.
But that's the intention. Like, that's the point. Because if I feel like there's an angle, you're not in the circle. It doesn't mean that I can't rock with you.
But you're not in the inner circle.
But you're not in the inner circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And people need to understand
There's
that
layers
not
to it.
everybody is in that inner circle.
And that's okay.
And that is very okay.
That's right. And I had to learn that.
Yes,
you know,
I did too.
That was a huge aha or eye-opening moment for me, is that every relationship or friendship that you're in, you're not always going to be in the inner circle.
Yes.
You might be on the second layer out at the moment. Because based off who you are and the value that you bring, the situation might not need what you have. So you won't always be on that inner circle. But situations will change where you lie in the friendship will adjust, right? And you just have to be the person that is willing to adjust and then grow within the adjustment. Yeah. I think that's huge.
I think that's huge too.
Man, this is good. I'm trying to think of toxic relationships, man. You know, I think I've done a pretty good job of.
But I think we're good with like, I take an assessment every so many years. I take an assessment of a relationship, and I think to myself, okay, is this person bringing the same energy that I'm bringing into this relationship? is this person pushing me to my purpose or not? Is this like, I take an assessment, and if all those assessments, and people need to learn when to let people go.
That's it.
If all of those assessments is telling me that this person is not bringing me joy, I have to put Kaprecha first.
Yes,
and you gotta go.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
Yeah, because at one point that person could have been healthy for you.
Exactly.
Right? But if you hold on to that person for too long, it will become toxic to you, right? It's like milk or anything that has an expiration date. Within that season, within that period, it's good for you.
Yes.
But after that date, if you try to hold on to that after that date, it now has the opposite effect on you.
That is
so
true.
Assessment is so you said that some of the questions you asked as you assess is this person bringing me value? Are they pushing me towards my goals or pulling me away from my goals? Are they bringing value? Are they a giver or a taker?
Are they making me happy? I feel like when that person is calling me, I'm always making excuses so I don't have to be around them. Then there's a problem.
There's a problem. And so why don't you pick up the phone when that particular person calls? Like so many times I think we look at it, we don't pick up, but we don't ask why. And how come we haven't had that conversation with that person?
And that's a good one too. And that's where growth has definitely come to me. Is that I'm quick to cut you off, but in some senses, God is trying to get us to get out of our comfort zone and have hard conversations. And you'll really see if somebody is your friend based on those hard conversations. Yeah. If they're willing to make that adjustment, then that's a friend. If they're like, no, I'm not gonna do this, and it's a confrontational thing, then that person isn't meant for you. But it really won't happen, and you won't be able to see that if you deprive yourself of having that conversation. And getting out of that comfort zone. Like, we had to have that conversation. Right. And that was a hard conversation. Because I was remember looking at the phone like, do I really want to have that today?
Right. Do we want to talk? Do we want to have that conversation?
Do we really want to go there?
But it was that conversation that opened up the portal to our next level. And so the very thing that we're praying for, the very thing that we are wanting out of our lives is right there. The problem is that we just don't face that difficult thing. Yeah. So we want the next, but we're not willing to do what it takes to get to the next. So then we get frustrated within where we are in life. But it's on us. Yeah. It's because we're not willing to do that hard thing. Like, what lies on the other side of that tough conversation? Yes. Is beautiful for both parties. Because now you're not leading that person on. That's now like stuck, right? So you can have that conversation, let that person grow and develop how they need to, and then that frees you up to grow and develop in the way that you're supposed to. And who knows, later on in life, you guys might link up together and still be able to provide value with each other, as long as you all commit to growth in the absence of each other.
That's so powerful, because it's just like we have to be willing to make ourselves vulnerable. And say, hey, this hurt me, or hey, this isn't working for me in this season. Hey, I need our friendship to adjust, so I need you to hang back. Yeah. I need, saying what we need. Oftentimes we think in friendships, because I've known Wayne for so long, we think, oh, well, he knows what I need. Right. He should know this. But we don't know, because he's playing dad, he's playing husband, he's playing manager, he's playing creator, he's playing, he got all these different roles. So how dare I think that he can read my mind while he's doing all of these transitions? And I think that's this service that we do a lot of times in friendship, is just assume because somebody knows us that we can just, I'm just gonna not be that person's friend. Yeah. Like, don't do yourself a disservice, because you could have let a friendship go that really was just in transition. Yeah. And you just needed to take a step back and really say, okay, hey, in this season, how can I serve you? It's so funny, because as God is preparing me to be a wife, I'm reading all of these books. And that's another thing we have in common. We love to read. Yeah. And get, like, me and Wayne was the first person I prayed for this. But he's like the first person that we both would be on the self-help and be like, yes, we need this. Right. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, we were always in the quest to be better. And I think that has been a really big thing for our friendship too, is because if you're always striving to be better and you're always striving to like self-reflect, it's easy to adjust to the different roles that I had to play. with Wayne and him getting married and him having kids, it was easy for me to adjust because I knew, number one, the friendship was worth it.
Yes.
Because sometimes we do all of this work and that friendship isn't even worth it. Yeah. You'd be like, ooh, and that's a relationship too. Yep. You'd be like, I'm doing all of this work, and at the end of the day, is this worth it? And every time, and I want to get emotional, but every time I think of all the wonderfulness that you, and I don't even know if wonderfulness is a word, but we gonna say it is. All the great, amazing things that you've done in my life. And for me, like, I will never forget, there's been times where, there was a time we were so poor, y'all, that we only had, and you remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, we only had like enough money to get one meal a day. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
And I was working for someone who will remain nameless.
Yes.
And she was crazy as I don't know what. And I remember I had no money in my account, and I called Wayne, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I'm hungry. I just spent all this money on this lady and all this kind of stuff. Wayne went out, and all we could afford was $1 menu. Yep. And he went, and I think it was Taco Bell.
Yes, I think it was.
And he would not eat anything. And he said, it just makes me happy to see you eat.
Yeah.
And that's my best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so anytime I get in my feelings or I get mad or whatever, God will always bring back those memories of little stupid things or big things. That's a huge thing. Yeah. He didn't eat all day, and he had been working, because you was working at FedEx at the time.
I think so, yeah.
He had been working all day, and when I called him, he went into Big Brother mode and was like, let me get her what I can get her.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, as I'm eating, you ain't gonna, come on, we gotta eat this. And it was like, no. And I'm like, I'm not gonna eat this, but I'm gonna eat it, but I ain't gonna eat it. You know, and he was just like, I'll throw it away. Like, no, you just eat it. It's fine. And we used to have this thing where we would just go to sleep when we was
go. Listen, y'all.
You can't be hungry in your sleep.
You can't be hungry if you sleep. So if you hungry and you ain't got no money, yo, listen, words of wisdom.
There you go.
If you don't have any money to eat, if you don't have any money to eat, just go to sleep. Because you cannot be hungry in your sleep. Words of wisdom. You can pay me later. Man, this has been huge. Before we get out of here, what as people are building friendships or building relationships, what key would you give the community of what they need to look for or do or any of that? What's the biggest takeaway?
I would tell you to know yourself. Know what's yourself, and then also definitely know your love languages. That is not just for romantic love. That is also for platonic love. Know your love language. Know what you need in a relationship. A lot of people don't know what they need. And be strategic about your friendships. Don't just be friends with everybody. Some people can be acquaintances.
Yeah.
Know where to position people in your life. If you know somebody is a gossip, if you know somebody doesn't have good character, why do you want that person in your inner circle? Like, that's just useless. So you need to be able to put people in their position and know when to let go of relationships that no longer serve you. It does not mean that these people are not good people. It just means they are not able to serve you anymore at this particular time in your life.
Woo! I hope y'all got all of that. This has been a very, very helpful episode even for me. I have now a new perspective on a couple things. So that's it. That's all you guys get. This has been so much fun. Please like, share, comment, do all those things. A big thank you for Kaprecha for coming on BlockBuilding episode. Listen, and until we meet again, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.